just got back from racing at DXN Provisions in Arcadia, California. So no, I didn't win anything, not on Fast Fridays or on the next day, which was round 3 of the Summer Cup. So yeah, I was close, very close in box stock on my heat. This car was several lengths ahead of its competitors, but on that final lap, it decided to slow down a little bit after the jumps, and so the other car, the second car, beat me by this much, even though I was like several car lengths ahead for most of the race. Oh well, that's how the ball bounces. So yeah, this is not the be-all end-all car, but it's pretty darn good, I'll tell you that, because a lot of people looked at it and they were like, wow, that's fast, that's a fast car, that's like tune class speed. And yes, it is like tune class speed. I actually said that before. On the second race, tune class, I did better when I replaced the wheels, the standard 26mm wheels, with these new 24mm wheels. So these are the new carbon reinforced wheels that came out recently, and they came out with them in the style of, as you see here, super hard, small diameter tires, and they also have a low friction tire as well. So I placed the low frictions in the front, super hards in the back, and yeah, these little wheels, they really helped like keep the whole car like low to the ground. So I like that. That's pretty cool. That enabled me to stay close to the ground, and there were fewer course outs, let's put it that way, but it still coursed out. So I think it was still a little too fast for its own good. It had a 31 kilometer per hour atomic tuned engine in there, and then I decided, this isn't fast enough. It's not super competitive compared to the other people who are running, what are they running? Torque tune motors on that 3-lane track. A lot of people had torque tune motors, so I switched to a torque tune motor just so I can be competitive with them, and it was working for a while. And then all of a sudden, in the race itself, in the race that counted, it coursed out. On the races up until that point, in practice, it didn't course out. Now, you might be wondering like, oh yeah, well in practice races, of course, you're racing by yourself, blah, blah, blah. But no, at DXN, the cool thing is, everybody waits for everyone else so that there's like a full track before they practice. So it's not like somebody comes up to the track and goes, oh, it's my turn, I'm just going to race my car alone. No, everybody actually waits for other people to come aboard and race 3 cars at a time on their 3-lane track. And that's pretty cool, because then you get that feeling of what an actual race is going to be like. So cool. So unfortunately this coursed out and I couldn't win my heat. Now, my one potential saving grace was Firefly. This is my bread and butter for the moment. And this was doing very well in practice. I would say that it's always stayed on the track, but it was a little slow, and I wanted it to be faster. And I said to myself, well, I've got the fastest possible Hyperdash motor in here that I could get. Like, I tuned it so that it was 34 kilometers per hour. Pretty respectable, pretty cool. But then I got a little greedy. I said to myself, what if I could just make these rollers spin a little bit better and also amp the motor just a little bit? What can I do to amp the motor? So I checked out what other people were using in their rigs, and it looks like everybody was using Voodoo oil and the DXN oil, the Dixon oil. So the Dixon oil is for lubricating your rollers, and the Voodoo oil is for your motors. So I asked my friend for a little shot of Voodoo oil in my motor and some on my rollers, and lo and behold, these rollers spun better than they ever have. And this motor here, when I turned it on, it sounded like a whole new engine. And the weird thing was, the batteries were not at full charge. They were at like 1.47 volts. And the car sounded faster, and actually measured faster using the Dixon speed checker, than a fully loaded, fully charged 1.61 volt set of batteries prior to using Voodoo oil. So I was like, whoa, what's going on here? This has like given me at least a couple of thousand RPM extra. I'm gonna try to win this thing. And it was very competitive, except that first heat, everybody coursed out. So what ended up happening was my car crashed into, or that other car crashed into me. Something happened where we both crashed into each other, and the car was never quite right, because the second time we made an attempt to race, this thing just coursed out in the first turn. And I was like, what is wrong here? Is this way too fast? Because if you look at the video, you'll see that the second try, I'm shooting right out the gate. I'm so fast. And then that first big mega turn, I just course out. And so I was checking up later on, like examining the damage that was going on here, and it turns out that there was a screw that was like off here. These here were bent in the front. This left roller right here, this was off center. So there were a lot of things that were just off center, and this was loose right here. The post that held my damper weight, the rear damper weight, was also loose. So there were a lot of things that were just not quite right after that crash. So I'm kind of shocked that it ran at all, to be quite honest. It was pretty interesting. But yeah, I repaired everything and I ran this again on my practice track, and it looks like that it's back to what it was. I even did a little bit of improvement on this. Previously, I actually didn't melt this down onto the carbon. Now it's melted down on the carbon properly, and I learned a trick on how to do that at DXN. So that's pretty cool. So right now I'm back to my black bell motor, and yeah, I'll just have to live with this for a while, and it's a pretty good machine with it in there. It's not too bad. So it's not as competitive as with the white bell motor, but maybe one day I'll get that white bell motor back. Right now it's kind of like it's on the fritz, so I have to revive it. So unfortunately. So yeah, although I didn't win anything at DXN, I didn't expect to either, because like I'm the new kid on the block at that place. So there are a lot of really experienced racers there. There are people who have been racing for years, and they've been practicing on the track, on that current track that I was racing on, for like many days prior to that race. Like, this is a special event, the Summer Cup. You don't go into this whole thing cold turkey. If you want to stay competitive against the other racers, you have to go in at least 1 or 2 or 3 days prior and just practice on the track to get a feel for where your cars are at. And then you have to practice against other people. So the cool thing about Dixon is the fact that they have the track set up like Wednesday or so, and then you have that Wednesday, Thursday, Friday, and even Saturday to practice on the track before you finally let loose the car of your choice. I had 2 cars in each category, and I picked the best one to race in each category. So yeah, if I had my full rig, which is 2 pit boxes, then I would have had larger amounts of choices. And I probably would have raced more than 1 car too. There were some people that were racing like 8 cars there. So yeah, you could enter as many cars as you want in tune class and open class. However, box stock, you have 1 choice. You can only pick 1 car for box stock. And the reason for that is, if they allowed everyone multiple cars in box stock, supposedly they'd be there racing forever. So yeah, so everybody just gets 1 choice in box stock. And I'm glad that I chose this. This was a good choice. And if I had to do it all over again, I'd probably race this again. I did put my spoiler fin thing on the back of it because it weighed it down a little bit, especially over that dragging back hump. Without it, it basically coursed out a lot. So with it, it weighed it down a smidge more. So that was pretty cool. So yeah, and things that I would have done differently with tune class, I probably would have tried to change these rollers in the front. I don't think that these are the optimal rollers for that track. That track had a lot of turns on it, and I think I would have wanted something a little more robust on this right side. I counted the number of lefts and right turns, and there are a lot more right turns. So I think I should have modified this right roller a bit. So for open class, I think I probably would have or should have done the same thing by modifying the right roller, because there were a lot more right turns. But otherwise, I have no regrets. I'm happy that I got to drop my car on a Dixon track, so that was pretty cool. So yes, if you like this video, everybody please slam the like button, like my videos, subscribe to my channel. You'll see more videos just like this one. Until next time, everybody, see ya, bye.